expert. I'm very thankful to our DG sir, Mr. Syam Jagannathan sir, IAS. He is our Director General of Shipping. I have requested it within no time. So I really, from bottom of my heart,
we also become one of the foremost nations in contributing seafarers to the tune of one seafarer in every four, 25% of the global pool emanating from here. Indian seafarers have established their credentials. They are respected as thorough professionals, and it is this tradition that has to be carried forward by all future aspiring seafarers. From the Director General of Shipping, we are keen, whatever manner of action we can as a catalyst to do, to standardize the training procedures, to improve the competency assessment frameworks. We are ever approachable. Both the chief examiners have been both on the engine and on the deck side, taking steps in consultation with all the stakeholders. And it is indeed heartening to see this mentoring session for the second zones for the COLREGs. We look forward to many more such initiatives which we will support. Very recently, the Honorable Minister had launched two initiatives, which was Sagar Mein Yog, which is a components of wellness for seafarers, and Sagar Mein Samman, which is a gender inclusive initiative. We request all to partner us, and we are ever willing from the Director General as a statutory regulatory authority to pitch in and improve systems. And you're most welcome to raise, escalate complaints, grievances, so that we can do the needful to ensure your skilling, your training is professional without any ambiguity, and you hold proudly the Indian flag when you basically sail at seas. I'm indeed grateful for this opportunity by Captain Amresh Jha. I apologize that I'm addressing you while in transit due to a certain urgent commitment which had come up. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Wish you all the very best. Look forward to meeting with all of you again. Thank you so much.
thank you so much, sir. From your busy schedule, you have taken time to address all of us. It is really indeed a great gesture and a great, I would say, efforts from your side that you have taken time, and we are really thankful for your time and valuable suggestions and the insights that you have shared with all of us. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so we will start with this proceedings. The next in our agenda is that we have been blessed by such a great mentors. When I say mentors, these are our today the mentors who are going to take sessions is my mentor, my personal mentor as well. Especially when I'm talking about Captain Saran, who is going to be one of the presenter. I have learned a lot from him. I was a chief officer. He was onboard trainer. So he goes on for, and I just want to share with all of you, all our three presenter, Captain Pradhan, Captain Chabra, Captain Saran, are having more than 4 decades of experience. And they are all coming with tons of experience, tons of knowledge, which they will be sharing with all of you. So here I am welcoming my first presenter, which is Captain Chabra. Captain Chabra started from TS Rahman and 76-77 batch, almost 48 years of experience in shipping. And he has been in SCI, he has been a head of Wala Maritime Training Centers. He has been serving on board ships as well as ashore. He has served as a senior quality health superintendent with Anglo-Eastern. Right now, presently, he's working with Marinepal, and there are various hats that he's wearing. And most importantly, that today's session, which is very relevant, he has authored a book on COLREGs, and I'm sure some of you may have read or most of you may have seen it. So he has authored 2 navigational books. One of them is on the COLREGs as well. So welcome, Captain Chabra. Next is Captain Saran. Captain Saran is from 81 batch, a direct entry cadet. Almost 45 years of experience. He has got 21 years of command, presently sailing on board vessels, and 10 years in training. So you can imagine how big the experience he has been into this industry for more than 4 decades. I have been personally benefited from his experience because I have learned a lot of things from him. I have worked under him. So I'm sure his experience will be a great value to all of you. Next presenter is our presenter is Captain Nimish Pradhan, who has been sailing since 83, almost 43 years, 41 years of experience. Out of that, 28 years he's sailing as a master on board ship. He has sailed on board vessel on Jesco, Valem, Univan, Goodwood, Nautic. So here is to all of you. I request all of you to go through their presentation. We have covered all the questions that you have put in our group, and our speakers will be taking care of that. Next, I would like to introduce to all of you is Captain Ramji, who has been a mentor to me personally and a mentor to our mentoring group as well. He has been part of this group for quite some time, and he has been the I would say the instrumental in having this master class. So he will be moderating session with me. All the questions that you have put in that will be asked by Captain Ramji on behalf of you to our speakers. Apart from these 4 that I have introduced, I have got my backup team, which is Captain Dheeraj, Mr. Pratik Saxena, Sahira, Harshan, Anurag, Amit. They are all there in background. They have worked for last 1 month. And today is the culmination of all that what we have done for the 1 month. After this session, I would like to have your feedback, how this has got, whether this session has got some benefit to you and whether you would like to have such sessions again. And now I would like to request Captain Chabra to take over the session from here.
Thank you, Captain Amrish. I hope everybody can hear me. At least do a thumbs up.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Very
sir. We
nice.
can hear you.
Thank you. So I'll be doing basically 2 sessions. One is first one is on introduction to the rules, and a lot of questions were there that we are confused on the general layout of the rules and how to use them. So I'll try and cover that. And in the next session at the end, I'll be answering questions on not to impede and restricted visibility situations, where I'll try and make a presentation of the rules first and then answer the questions. Let me try and share the screen if I'm lucky. Okay, I think.
Volunteers, please keep adding people who are waiting in the waiting room or lobby.
Okay, is the screen visible?
Already checking, sir.
Is the screen visible? Because now I can't see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are visible and loud and clear.
Okay. Right. So always like to show my lifetime achievements, the 2 books, that's one, and then one prize from Merchant Navy once, not once, twice. I've done 2 full-day workshops for Indian Navy, so I tried to put that picture in between. There are many of Merchant Navy. And as you rightly said, now I'm working for Marine Pals. We are trying to make safety videos. Okay. All people who are in the group are requested to please switch off your mic. There's a lot of background voice coming in. Okay, let's go into the rules. This were adopted in 1972 and became applicable in 1977. As Captain Amri said, I'm from the, in fact, it's T.S. Rajendra batch 76-77. So we were learning the rules which we would apply when we passed out from pre-C. This is called the Convention on the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea, 1972. So I always prefer to use the word rules for preventing collisions, and I prefer not to use anything else. There have been a lot of amendments since the original rules came in. The original rule did not have the last three rules which we study now. They did not have 8F, and few other small changes came in, which is not of much interest to you now. You need to worry about what you have with you now to study. So my first, I always try and do this, which I learned long back from a gentleman named Captain Roger Sims of Australian Maritime College. This is how he used to teach his students. So I learned from his students. First and foremost, get the structure of the rules clear in your mind. And this should become, no matter you want to call it Gita, you want to call it Bible, you want to call it Quran, whatever religion you follow, but this should be your part and parcel, but this is your bread and butter. The rules are divided into parts, and these parts are called by alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F. Then there are 4 annexes, which I'm not going to go into now, but I always recommend that everybody should read the annexes also. The breakup of the numbers is on the screen. I don't have to read them out. Then part B is further subdivided into 3 sections. So please remember, when we talk of part or any rule says part, your mind should go to any of these parts which are on the screen. Now part B gets subdivided into 3 sections. 1, 2, and 3. It's important for you to understand this breakup, because without understanding this breakup, the application goes haywire. Section 1, 4 to 10, they apply to all vessels at all times or in any condition of visibility. Section 2, 11 to 18, as per Rule 11, applies only to vessels in sight of one another. And Section 3, Rule 19, the only rule in Section 3, has got 2 conditions of application. Applies to vessels not in sight of one another when navigating in or near an area of restricted visibility. The important part to keep in mind here is Section 1 applies with Section 2, also applies with Section 3. No matter where you are, rules in Section 1 always apply. But the rules in Section 2, when they are applicable, when vessels are in sight of one another, then 19 is not applicable. And when you are not in sight, but you are in or near an area of restricted visibility, then and then only 19 applies. And at that time, please forget about 11 to 18. There is one waiver exception here, is the definition of overtaking. Other than that, please forget about 11 to 18. There is nothing like head on, there's nothing like give way, there's nothing like stand on, there's nothing like responsibilities between vessels. So this should be clear in your mind. Whether you are a cadet in NKSA, when we were trying to teach COLREGs, he was the first one who drew this chart and said, Yashwant sir, shall we not explain this way? So I don't take credit for making the chart. That's my former colleague, Captain NKSA, 2 years my junior. For many, many years, we worked together at Volume Training Center, also on TS Chanakya. So when you're looking at any rule, please be mindful it is in which part. And if it is in part B, then you have to think, is it in part, not part. Is it in Section 1, applicable at all times, or Section 2, in sight of each other, or in Section 3, not in sight when in or near an area of restricted visibility. Now let's get on to the rules. Within the rule, you have paragraphs. We call them paragraph A, B, C, and so on. Some of the paragraphs may have sub-paragraphs. Then they are sub-numbered in Roman 1, 2, 3, etc. Within the rule, there are no parts. The moment somebody says this part of the rule, to my mind, is a failing answer, because within the rule, you have only paragraphs or sub-paragraphs, no parts. I've taken one rule to show you how we should read the rules and how we should interpret them to understand them better. An important part is to understand the meaning of the words. So here's, I have a PDF file. I've given it to the organizers. They can share it with you. Shall is read. That means has to be done. May means you have a choice. Does not mean just because you have a choice, you do it. If the circumstances warrant or circumstances require, then you may exercise the may choice. Then if you see in paragraph C, it talks about subparagraph A2 of this rule. Be very, very careful. When you're reading paragraph C of rule 17, it applies only with subparagraph A2 of this rule. Please do not apply it with paragraph B or D or anywhere else. And now, when we discuss this in more depth later, this also gets linked with rule 15, action to be taken in a crossing situation. How do we apply the rules? The rules in general cover two vessels at a time, whether sometime it is stated, sometime it is not stated. A lot of candidates have asked multiple vessel situation answers. Let me tell you, the rules do not address multiple vessel situations. Rules only refer to two vessels at a time. Now, when you get a complex situation, my answer is deal with them one by one in order of priority. If there's a problem coming up, please call your senior officers and call the master to assist. And then we go back to rule number 2, which has a lot of beautiful phrases in it. Ordinary practice of seamen, special circumstances, all dangers of navigation, limitations of vessels involved, concluding with may make a departure from these rules necessary to avoid immediate danger. We can break away from the rules, provided the circumstances warrant. And this is my answer whenever you have a multiple vessel situation. How do we go about practicing the rules? On the practical aspect, a lot of people have said, what is the practical way? Well, to start with, you should know the rules. Rule 2 also has a comment in it, construing and complying. Very, very important. Construing means how you understand the rules, and then we talk about complying, how we go about practicing those rules. So our basic process on board a ship at sea is we maintain a proper lookout. Full appraisal of the situation with an emphasis on determining risk of collision. Rule number 5. I'm not saying other rules are not important. I'm just telling you what practically gets more in line of priority. Rule 7 talks about determining risk of collision. Rule 7 has a beautiful clause in it. If there's any doubt, such risk shall be deemed to exist. If there is a risk of collision, if there's no risk of collision, do nothing. If there is a risk of collision, our next step is to decide what is the applicable situation. Is it a head-on situation? Rule 14. Is it a crossing situation? Rule 15. Or you are a power-driven vessel and you are encountering a sailing vessel which is not overtaking, then it could be rule 18. Or you could be in restricted visibility, then of course we will go into rule 19. decide what is the situation. As required by the rules, you execute action to avoid collision. Whenever you execute any action to avoid collision, please be mindful rule number 8 requirements always apply. Very, very important. Now here comes a little catch. All the rules are full of adjectives. When you put them into practice, we convert them to mathematical terms. And this is the problem. Different people convert to numbers differently. This is a universal problem. There is no solution because the rules are applicable to all vessels from the smallest to the largest. So please go through Rule 8 thoroughly, understand what those adjectives mean. If vessels are in sight, then you also need to worry about Rule 16. Do a little exercise, compare 8 and 16, make a chart, what all is said in 8, what all is said in 16, and you'll find they're very similar. So with this, I will conclude my initial presentation. If you have any questions on whatever I have said, you can put it on the chat box and I could try and answer now. I still have a few minutes, but I was given 15 minutes and I'm, well, few minutes short of that. I will stop sharing the screen and if I can stop sharing the screen.
Okay, thank you, Captain Chavra. We have, you can stop presentation.
Yeah. Stop.
We have admitted all who were in lobby. It is also available in the Seller Today YouTube channel. So in case you are not able to see or not able to log in for some reason, please watch live. It is available on Seller Today YouTube. I will put the link in the chat also. Now I would like to request Captain Saran to come and share your presentation on ROR with all of us. Over to you, Captain Saran. Can you unmute yourself, Captain Saran? And then you can share it.
Okay. Am I visible to everybody? Because general introduction to the rules. What I will try and recap for you is a slight, concise recap of section 2, where the vessels are in sight of each other. Then Captain Chabra will come back and do Rule 19 for you. I'll just start my presentation so that you guys can have a look. Let me just share it. Please give me a sec. Yep.
Yes, we can see your screen, Captain Saran.
I think it's frozen. Can you check?
Captain Saran?
I think it's frozen.
And like Captain Chabra just said, the rules generally embody the general practice of seamanship, meaning practices, procedures, processes, systems, and actions handed down through generations of seafarers, which have been time and tested till now. And that is where it embodies. Rule 13, overtaking. The key rule, one of them.
Sir, would like to request you to repeat again because you in between you were frozen.
Oh, Okay, I'll go back to that first slide again.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, the general situations we see with vessels outside of each other would probably be head-on, crossing, or overtaking, either of them in most cases. These will all potentially can lead to risk of collisions or close quarters situations, all avoidable. The rules really require that the actions are effective, made in ample time, and large enough to be easily seen. Rules, like as Captain Chabra said, generally embody the general practices of seamanship, meaning all practices, procedures, processes, systems, and actions handed down to generations of seafaring, which have proved successfully for safe navigation. Coming to the first one that I will discuss with you is overtaking. Remember, you are supposed to be referring to the chart on screen. You are overtaking a vessel if you are approaching from 2 points above the beam, either side. And that defines it. And this is your day aspect. At night, you will probably just see a stern light. If you see the side lights, please know that you will only be probably crossing. And if you see headlights and side lights, you are head-on situation. So that should be very clear. Remember that overtaking vessels remain the give vessels at all times. This is the key takeaway here. The overtaking vessel always remains the give-way vessel. The vessel being overtaken naturally then stays stand-on. Important note that the overtaking vessel is not relieved of a duty to keep clear until she is finally passed and clear. Please remember, this becomes a key. A vessel, for example, cannot overtake you, say from your starboard side, and then alter course, go across your bows, and become a crossing vessel by any meaning, within the meaning of the rules. It cannot happen. The overtaking vessel remains responsible until she is well passed and clear. This is a key point where surveyors also will look at it for you. Note that any subsequent change, like I said, in bearing and range, cannot make the overtaking vessel a crossing vessel at all. Okay. I'll just summarize a little by a short clip.
Overtaking vessels. A vessel is considered overtaking if it is approaching another vessel anywhere within a 135-degree sector at its stern. This sector is drawn between above two lines. Each line is 22.5 degrees aft of the beam on either side of the vessel to be overtaken. At night, the overtaking vessel can see only the stern light of the vessel being overtaken. It will not be able to see the side lights. If it sees the side lights first, then it is not an overtaking situation. Every ship that is overtaking must not come in the way of vessel being overtaken. An overtaking vessel has the responsibility of keeping clear. Once it has overtaken, it cannot alter course and claim to be a crossing vessel.
Okay, let me add a small thing here. If you are in doubt whether you're overtaking on crossing, you should always assume you're overtaking, because that way you remain the giveaway vessel. And it's a safer option to exercise. Next, we come on to the head-on situation, which is actually quite simple. If you see the diagram on the left, their vessels will probably be heading almost reciprocal courses, or nearly so. By nearly so, it can be 4 to 5 degrees off generally. At night times, you will see probably only one side light, either green or red, or both. If it's both, it's dead on. We are very clear here, both vessels will alter to starboard. So both vessels alter to starboard and clear port to port with each other. Do remember, your alteration has to be very bold and wide so that it is easily visible to the other vessel to avoid any confusion. A series of small alterations should never be attempted. like I said, easily visible. That gives him any vessel the idea that you are started to turn. Again, small recap for you.
Assume that two power-driven vessels are approaching each other on reciprocal or nearly reciprocal courses, involving risk of collision. Both the vessels should alter course to starboard and pass port to port. At night, each vessel would see both of the masthead lights. Both side lights will be visible when within range. Masthead lights may sometimes appear nearly in a vertical line, but as long as both side lights are visible, it is a head-on situation.
If the vessel is not an overtaking vessel, or it is not a head-on situation, the other option you will have is crossing. It has to be crossing. Like I said, it is the three options you normally have when you are in sight of each other. If you come up from the white sector in the diagram, from the stern, you're an overtaking vessel. Otherwise, if you see approach from the sides, you're a crossing vessel. Head-on is not being considered here. Yeah. In this, the vessel which has the other vessel on its starboard side has the responsibility to stay clear, and it is the give-way vessel then. The other vessel remains as a stand-on vessel. Also, please note that if you're a stand-on vessel, especially in this case, you should avoid closing ahead of the other vessel. In an open sea, the best option is to go hard over, turn around and go behind the other vessel, behind the stand-on vessel. That is your best option if you have ample sea room. If you're not in, like I said, if you're not in head-on or overtaking situation, it is safe to assume a crossing situation. Remember, the vessel which has the other vessel again is the give-way vessel. The stand-on vessel must take action to avoid collision if the give-way vessel is not taking action or if that action is insufficient. Once again, in this situation, like I said, the give-way vessel will take action, but if in case it is not taking action or that action is not sufficient, the give-way vessel, the stand-on vessel may then take action. The stand-on vessel must avoid an alteration to port if possible in this case. A small recap again for you all.
Crossing situation. When two power-driven vessels are in a crossing situation, the vessel which has the other on her own starboard side is the give-way vessel. The give-way vessel has to take action to avoid collision, as it is to the port side of the other vessel. As far as possible, the give-way vessel shall avoid crossing ahead of the stand-on vessel.
Now that in either of the conditions, crossing, overtaking, or head-on, comes to the actions by the give-way vessel in whichever case. If you see on the left, on the reciprocal meeting courses, the action is pretty clear. Each vessel alters to starboard. In an overtaking scenario, the overtaking vessel remains the give-way vessel and is obliged to keep clear. Either way, whether to go from port or starboard is open. In a crossing situation, as we just saw in the last one, the vessel which has the other is the give-way vessel. The other vessel on the starboard bow is the give-way vessel. The rules do not really say much about any specific action that a give-way vessel must take. Other than that, it is early and substantial actions to keep clear. Generally, it is mostly free to take any action as long as he keeps it's early, it's substantial, and it keeps clear. Like I said, in this scenario, the vessels can be easily identified as per illustrations on the left screen. With clear serum available, the best option possibly shown in the case of crossing vessels. Hard alterations pass behind the vessel, like I said earlier. The give-way vessel should avoid crossing ahead of the stand-on vessel. This is actually quite important and does happen often that vessels do not adhere to this, but this is a key. Small recap again for you.
The give-way vessel should take the avoiding action well in time. It should keep observing the course and speed of the target vessel and alter at the right time. It should not take action at the last moment.
Like I made it very clear, the action should be very early, substantial, and large enough, and readily apparent to the other vessel, so that it stays well clear, well within the time. In case the giveaway vessel is not altering as required by the rules, and a risk of collision intensifies, becomes more, or is going to be a close quarter situations, the stand-on vessel may take any action. Should take action as soon, and that action should be there as soon as it is clear that the giveaway vessel is not taking action or her action is not sufficient. If we have a doubt whether that action is being taken or not, assume that action is not being taken. The rule also states that stand-on vessel shall not, if the circumstances of the case admit, alter course to port for a vessel on her own port side. The best action possible is shown in the case of a crossing vessel earlier. Remember, as per the rules, the stand-on vessel will may in this particular question scenario be altering to starboard to go behind you. So if you alter to port, you may actually land up in a worse scenario. So just remember, that is why this has always been there in the rules. This rule, of course, at any stage does not relieve the giveaway vessel of her obligation to keep clear. That because of this action, she cannot exonerate herself at all, at any stage. So recap again.
If the owned vessel is passing close to a large anchored vessel or an island on her port side, then another vessel lying in the shadow of the anchored vessel or island may not be sighted by owned vessel visually or by radar. In such a situation, owned vessel may sight the other vessel only when it comes very close on her port side. Hence, the other vessel being a give-way vessel may not be able to take action on her own to avoid collision. So, owned vessel being a stand-on vessel should take such action as will best aid to avoid collision. Best action for her would be to stop engines and take all way off by operating a stern propulsion.
Okay, this is just one example. The other reasons maybe the other vessel has not been tracking you. It has not realized the collisions, risk of collisions exist, or a number of things of poor lookout on the other vessel. So could be any reason whatsoever. And when we are talking about actions to avoid collision, mostly we have been talking here about alteration of courses. Yeah, because in an open sea, that is probably one of your best options. Otherwise, you may use engines normally to reduce revs, especially when there's an overtaking vessel. As a stand-on vessel, that may help you clear the vessel faster. Or normally, if you're in congested waters, your engines will always be at maneuvering. Remember that. The master will probably mostly be on the bridge. So if you have a doubts, check with the master, inform him, but keep a track. It does not, just because the master is there, will not relieve you of your own duty itself. Remember that. And at that time, engines can be used. Most vessels today will allow watchkeeping officers use of engines in an emergency at any time. Remember that, please. Action timelines. Okay, when to start taking these actions. Normally, in general, this is a very generic thing. If you should start assessing risk once vessels are close to around 12 miles, by the time it's 8 miles, you should know what's happening and you should start taking action as soon as you can, if required. Either way, whether give way or stand by. After 4 miles, within 4 miles, depending on size of vessels, you could be so close that you will not be able to avoid a close quarter situation by your action alone or the other vessel's action alone. At that time, both vessels may have to take actions. Just remember to try to avoid this close quarter situation whenever it comes. That's your safest bet, actually. In sight of one another, the other questions which I have noted in the group which we were answering questions for cadets was entering or relieving TSS. Remember, when you enter TSS, you should normally always alter and enter at as close or a small angle to the TSS as you can. Do not try to just alter and enter a TSS with halt alterations and hard angles of alteration here. That confuses, because in and out traffic, you slowly join and you slowly leave at a small angle. If you have to cross the TSS, try to do it as soon as possible, normally as perpendicular to the general flow of traffic. You will see in the right side, the flow of traffic is in such a way, and if you have to cross that flow, you please do it at as right angle as possible, ensuring that you have clear sea room. If you don't have, the onus is on you to reduce your sea speeds and RPM and control until you have clear area for clearing out. That is the key here. Right. This is just a general gist. I think Captain Stabra will also take on Rule 19, and then we'll probably take some of your questions also. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Captain Saran. Can you now stop sharing? Very nice.
I stopped, sir. And over to you, Captain Amrish. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for this nice presentation. I'm sure cadets and junior officers will have a lot of value from watching this video, especially. Now I'm inviting Captain Ram Ji to start the session on question answers. Our first speaker for question answers will be Captain Pradhan. So over to you, Captain Ramji.
Okay, just give me a couple of minutes. I think Captain Pradhan will be the first. This one, I hope he has got all the questions with him. And in case he doesn't have, please let me know. Do you have your questions with you, Captain? You want to read it out? Do you want me to read it out, or do you want to read it out yourself?
No, it's better, Captain.
You can read it out, I'll take it. Yeah, it's better you read it out, I'll take it. Well, although I do have the questions. One, yeah. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Just give me a minute.
There was one question by, by Avas Verma, and he is saying actions in CBD situation. Is that correct, Captain Ramji?
Yes, you can start with that.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. Now, first of all, Captain Amrish has given my introduction, but I'm a sailing master and I sail. So, onus will be a lot on practical application, of course, within the rules, not against the rules. And also, a lot of these people on bulk carriers, tankers, you'll be heavily audited also. So, all encompassing, I'll try to cover all the bases. If I do miss something, do let me know. Now, what do you mean by CBD, constrained by draft? First of all, you don't have enough water to move around. So you have to just be on your course, which is there in your passage plan and plotted on the ECDIS. So you have to just be there. You can't go move around much. Now, what does, then the next question you will ask is, what do you mean by constrained by draft? It doesn't have to be a large vessel, a VLCC or a Suezmax or a, Capesize or something. No. There are places where, like Singapore Straits, they say, okay, anything more than 15 meters, you are CBD. So that's fine. Constrained by a large vessel. Now, what you have to really actually see is that after you allow for all your corrections to the draft, the dynamic corrections, export, weather, list, everything, whether you're less than 50% of your static draft. So say if your draft was 10 meters and you're less than 5 meters after all that, then you're going to be constrained by draft. Now you could be entering a harbor also, where you will be constrained by draft. Approaching, you'll be in a channel where, you are constrained by draft. There you don't have much room to move around. So you can only stick by your course where you are. So, and in those places, when you are constrained by draft, you can't be constrained by draft in an ocean, where you have, say, let's say you have a 50-meter contour. You can't be constrained by draft there, or more than a 30 meters. So you think about it. This is what you're going to be. So you're going to be anything less than 50% after you make all your corrections. You are constrained by draft. You can't move around much. You can only stay your course. And in all cases, in fact, in 99% of the cases, you will have your engines on maneuver. Then a lot of you guys are there for second watch. So, there is something called watch level in your navigation policy. And, you will be, the watches would be doubled. There would be a senior officer there or the master there. And you will be in an assisting role. He would have but at the same time, when you're going for exams, he's going to ask you actions because he wants to know the interpretation of the rules. So the surveyor, the examiner wants to know the interpretation of the rules. So, you have to tell him that also. That's not something that you say, okay, there's somebody senior to me there. So, my job's done. Oh, thank you very much. I just pointed out to him and that's it. No. You cannot say that. And even if that, you're a part of the breach team. So you have to also suggest that, okay, this is the action which you think is going to be good enough, which is according to the rules. So now, what does constrained by draft rule also say? That, okay, you have to keep your this, but at the same time, you cannot, go contravention to the rules. Take action contravention to the rules, unless you are in a situation where you have to apply rule 2. So you try and we comply with the rules as much as we can. If you cannot, well, yes. And the best common thing, you will find, say, a crossing situation or an overtaking. Somebody is overtaking you, is too close. Okay, you just reduce speed, tell him down, go. Or you will get more time to assess the situation by reducing the speed. So that is because course alteration, you can't do much. So remember that there was one question raised on man overboard in this also. CBD, you can't move much here. Remember one thing. So keep that in mind, and that's what it is, basically a CBD situation, I would say.
Okay, I go to the next question. Just a quick word about how we collected these questions. When we requested a lot of registrations, we also requested for a lot of questions. Though there are over 600 registrations, unfortunately, we got only about 30 odd questions or whatever it is, and we are trying to answer in the best way possible. The next question is by Satyam Rishi, and it is actions in close quarter situations, to be addressed by Captain Pradhan.
Yeah, now a close quarter situation is what? First of all, you understand that. In your master standing orders, he's given you a CP and TCPA limits. So anything less than that, you breach that, you are in a close quarter, you can say. So in a close quarter situation, you must first comply by the rules. If you if you feel that, like complying the rules, you cannot do that, as mentioned by the previous speakers also, then you come to rule 2, that you say, sorry, I have to take best that you don't collide, you don't ground. Those are the 2 things which you have to consider, that yes, you have to do that. So that is basically a close quarter situation. You know, it's close quarter situation is not defined, you know, in numbers anywhere. Some companies or some masters do refine, and basically a good guide is the master standing orders, which tells you, you know, your CPA and TCPA limits. So if you breach both CPA and TCPA, you know you're in a close quarter situation. Then, as far as possible, avoid, as I said, avoid getting into a close quarter situation by taking early action. If you've got, for God help, if you've got into a close quarter situation, go by what the rule says. And, you know, like in a crossing situation, avoid to port, you have to go to starboard, give hard board helm. Doesn't matter. If you have to cut down speed, never mind air. I mean, look at this one way. What is the worst, you know? A limping engine is worst, or this is worst. A collision is worst, or a grounding is worst. So, you know, take care of that. And if you have to act, you have to act. But in all cases, if you're getting into a close quarter, inform the master. Or if the master is not available, who is the next in command, who's somebody who is senior to you, a chief officer invariably, inform him and go ahead with the action if you have to, if he doesn't arrive on the scene as quickly as possible. Remember one thing, gentlemen, do not collide. Since you've got into a close quarter, you do not collide, you do not ground. Till then, if you don't do that, you're okay. Otherwise, well, yes, it's a different ball game then.
Okay, there's a next question continuing that, and this is a, I don't want to say it's a trick question, it's just a simple question. And can a close quarter situation develop without a risk of collision? This is by a gentleman called Karthik Sharma.
Yes, Karthik. Now remember one thing, I've already told you now what is a close quarter situation. Now, many masters I've seen, even I do open sea, we say 2 miles. But you say you pass a vessel 1.5 miles here, is it a risk of collision? No. But you've given 2 miles because, you know, master feels inexperienced 2 miles safe. So that should answer your question. There is not really a risk of collision, but it is a close quarter because now it is that, you know. So that is my interpretation of it, that if you are breaching your criteria, you are in close quarter. Whether you collide or doesn't collide, no, the risk of collision or not doesn't really matter.
Okay. Thank you, Captain. I'll come back to you in a few minutes. I will take on Captain Saran, I guess. Now, next, I will ask you a few questions which we have received. And this is by actions when vessels are crossing. This is by Santosh Kumar. So, Captain Saran, could you please address this?
Yes, actions. I think the question was actions when vessels are crossing.
Yes.
The primary thing is to determine whether you are a stand-on vessel or a giveaway vessel. Your actions depend entirely on which vessel you happen to be. It's as simple as that. And in either case, the intention, your actions will depend or should result for a vessel on your own port side. You're a giveaway vessel, a stand-on vessel. Remember that. I think that should answer it because this is too generic a question otherwise.
Okay, so we take it to a slightly more specific one, that is CBD situations in a TSS and narrow channel. This is by Shoaik Roy. And,
yes, okay. The narrow channel part, the CBD, the vessel has to also be aware of her own condition and then proceed accordingly. Normally, vessels will try to keep clear of her, but in case those risk of collision is developing, the rules will apply as for vessels in sight of each other. And the vessel which is constrained by a draft must keep this in mind. So that in a situation where she is a stand-on vessel and has to take action, she should be prepared for it or have a contingency in place.
Okay, thank you. I hope it was clear to Shoaik Roy. And I go to the next one. That is actions regarding RAM vessels, that is resisted and ability to maneuver. This by Abhishek Kumar.
Okay, actions regarding RAM vessels is again too open a question like the boys are asking, but I'm assuming they're asking what to do if you encounter RAM vessels. If that is the question, then you should avoid them. It is your duty to keep clear of the ram vessel and you stay out of its way. As simple as that. And remember here, even the stand-on part of it, ram vessel cannot really be a stand-on part because he's telling you he cannot maneuver. As simple as that. So you stay clear of it, come what may. Otherwise, in a narrow channel or anything, the ram vessels will already be aware of their particular condition, and they will have already put up enough red flags or warning signals as such. But onus remains on you to clear of the vessel. As simple as that.
Okay, so I'll go on to the next one, and that is again what you call special circumstances in CBD situations. I'm sorry to come back to that. I probably should have clubbed it together. But anyway, this is a special situation.
What is asking, sometimes in a CBD situation, the boys have asked me the question, we don't have enough sea room, we are in a narrow area, or we will be in a TSS. And these are areas where normally you will be constrained by the draft. At open sea, you will rarely be doing that. And they have their doubts that I cannot move out, even though the rules, I have to follow the rules and keep it in mind. Remember that even if you're constrained by a draft, you will have some resume. Your passage plan will give you some leeway. Remember, even a small alteration for a little while may not cause you to go outright out of the channel or to the safer boundary. A small, you may be able to go by that. Otherwise, your best use is engines. Be ready to your engines. Slow down to bare minimum or stop if you have to until the danger is past and clear. That's your best option there.
Okay, thank you, Captain. That earlier question was by Ishtiaq Qureshi. Now the next one is by Santosh Kumar, and he wants to have clarifications on actions in a narrow channel with crossing situations. You had with the TSS. Now he wants actions in narrow channel with crossing situations.
Well, the best option is, again, your engines are your best bet if you have a crossing situation. If by crossing in a narrow channel, he means you are coming almost head on and you have to go. You remember in normally narrow channels, vessels do pass each other. And if that has to be done, you need to keep your interaction of ships in check. And normally master would be there to handle it. So, but your best solution here is speed. Reduce your speeds. Control it by speeds because you may not have enough room otherwise.
Okay, thank you. The next one is by Jayant Pratap Singh, and he wants to know that navigating in high density fishing traffic, what do you do? He probably means the ones which you encounter off China or Japan or whatever.
Yep, practically what you can do is keep your engine standby at all times at a very safe speed, a slow speed if required, and never try to take on a fishing vessels when they are in large numbers. You talked about, Captain Ramji, about China. Nowadays, last 2 trips, very interestingly, if they have got large vessels, they have got guide vessels they keep. And they keep telling you, and somehow they have kept that, I've seen that in 3 equations, they keep your channel clear. This is the practical aspects, and they will guide you, listen to them then. It happens, it works. But your best choice in slow speeds, times. Master will probably be on the bridge, but he still doesn't relieve you. So you also keep your care and do not, like I said, take the vessel one at a time. Don't worry.
Okay, thanks. I did see a hand going up and it dropped off. I don't see the hand anymore. So I'll go on to the next question. Maybe you'll come back to that.
I'd like to just add, with your permission, I'd like to add what Captain Yash has said. He's given a very good explanation. This regarding please. South China Sea. Yeah, I've been doing this now since probably 2014. I've been doing South China Sea on VLCCs, Persian Gulf loading, discharging, Far East, China, Korea, Japan. And I'd like to share experience over here. It normally starts about a day and a half before Zhaijimin vessel, that is Nanjing or Zhoushan, and it goes right up to Yellow Sea in your test, close to your. So, the rules say very well, large alteration and all that thing, but you can't really early observe this. You can't really do that till you're about between a couple of miles. A fishing vessel is a small vessel. And even if you're on a loaded VLCC 2 miles, then you just about alter and keep clear. You can't go by say, I will give 2 miles and 1 mile. Basically, when you do coast plotting, when you're plotting the coast, you keep about 40 miles off the coast. So that, although there will be there won't be so much and you will have enough sea room also. So, end of the day, and then as he says, the guide vessels when there are, because when you see your radar screen, because nowadays these fishing nets also have these AIS transponders, or you see the radar, it's all like Diwali over there, on the screen. What's it? The screen is full. So you have to go by visual lookout. You see visually, nowadays there's a lot of tendency to look in, that is looking the radar. Instead of, looking outside, look outside, gauge the range, about 2 miles or even less than 2 miles, little less than 2 miles, then you start altering so that your alteration is not too wide to head into another vessel, because they are in groups, they are in swarms, and they just keep coming. There's no stoppage on that, wherever you go. And please be there, just clear the vessel comfortably, don't get his net wet into the propeller, and keep clear and go. That's all. And when there is this swarm is there, particularly north of Shanghai, when you start getting these vessels, the swarms, the guide vessel keeps telling you the course, and it helps in most cases, more than in 99% cases, I would say.
Thank you,
Okay,
Captain
thank you.
Dinesh. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll go on to the next question, please. And
Mrs. One, yes, as a master or as a senior navigator, you should be, when you run into a swarm, sometimes you may not have a choice. Like I said, small alterations will work. Passing of fishing vessels 3 to a couple of 100 meters off is okay, but suggest the boys do not attempt this on your own. You have a senior master, call him. He will do that for you.
okay, what I'm going to do is go on with the questions. Let us finish the questions, then we'll come back for discussions. Okay. So please hold on to your horses. So I'll go to the next one, and this is again by one gentleman called Mohit Ahlawat. Then that is confusion regarding giveaway and stand-on vessels in a narrow channel. We just addressed it, I thought. Maybe you can add a few more bits. And pieces.
If going strictly by the rules, you will always be either giveaway or standby vessel wherever you are. If you're on a narrow channel, you're in a special circumstances area. Some vessels may have right of way because of the nature of work they do, but in general, in case it comes down to risk of collision, the rules will apply to that extent. Like I said, your best bet in that case is speed, because alterations will not help you much. You may, when rules will tell you take all your way off until the danger is past and clear. So do that. There are cases where people have had to drop anchors just so that they stay safe while the dangers are cleared out, which is a rare occurrence, of course. But speed is the best bet. Alterations, like Captain Dinesh said, in the hand of senior masters, yes. Small large alterations, controlled, and passing very near vessels is also possible in a narrow channel. But then I don't think as cadets you would be expected to do that.
Okay, I guess that is also addresses the next one, like the spirit of Rule 13 application.
Yes, spirit of Rule 30 is very clear. You have decided to overtake somebody. You be aware of that, and that is why the onus remains entirely on you.
With a beautiful video as well. Okay, I go to the last question of yours. That is, which rules are not applicable to restricted and ability to maneuver? That is RAM vessel. That is again by Shavit Roy.
Oh, this is a strange one, but yeah, I mean, if you look at it, in most of cases, the RAM vessels will not be because as a RAM, if you decide to overtake, the onus again remains on him. Generally, crossing situations will not apply to him.
Okay, I think I finish with you and I go to Captain Chabra. And I have to ask Captain Chabra how he wants to tackle this, because he has got questions with 8F as well. And or does he want to tackle it by himself? Or how does he want to do it? How does he want to finish his presentation fully and then address the questions? Or does he answer some part of the questions, then go back, give a presentation and come back again?
Captain Ramji, both are complex rules. So what I have done is I made a small presentation on 8F. it would be more prudent I explain what is 8F. And after that, if still they have a question, I will be very happy to answer, because 8F by its application itself is a little complex. So what I intend doing is share the screen, give a little presentation on 8F, then answer the question on 8F. Then similarly, I will try and run through Rule 19 very quickly, not in detail, won't have the time for that, and then answer something on 19. And then also guide people in the process how they should go about studying this rule to understand them better. But now it's 15:10. I think I've got about 20 minutes. Am I right, Captain Ambrish? About 20 to 25 minutes?
Yes, sir, you have.
Yeah, so I think I'll do that. I'll start with a little presentation on 8F. I hope I can find it. To be finding everything else except what I need. Okay, give me half a minute. So I use the same starting screen.
Yes, we can. Please go
I
ahead.
would like to confess that writing the book, the maximum time it took was to write on 8F, because we could not get any great information. And two gentlemen, Liliana and Vincenski, have published a book online in a US coast. Okay, so Rule 8 is in Part B, Section 1, which means applies at all times. Now, in that we have 8F, which was added later in the years. It was not there when I was studying the rules initially. To start with, when does 8F apply? This is a very important and a critical key point for people to understand. It's not a standalone rule. Whenever any rule says not to impede, avoid impeding, do not impede, shall not impede, as the case may be, and that, please make a note, that's in Rule 9 Bravo, 9 Charlie, 9 Delta, 10 India, 10 Juliet, 18 Delta 1, 18 Echo, and 18 F1. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When 8 of these paragraphs or subparagraphs of the rules require a vessel not to impede or avoid impeding the passage of another vessel, then that is practiced or put into effect by way of 8F. Why 8F not apply in routine action to avoid collision situations? So 8F will not be applicable, let's say, in a head-on situation, in a crossing or overtaking, or even in restricted visibility, if the following rules shown on top are not applicable. The rule is placed in Section 1, which means it applies at all times. Obviously, with Rule 9 and 10 will apply at all times, whether in sight or in restricted visibility. However, when you apply it with Rule 18, since 18 applies only to vessels in sight of one another, then obviously 8F, it's like a peak rule. It's not a standalone rule. Whenever you're applying any of these 9B, C, D, 10, IG, or 18, etc., they get imposed by 8F. To impede precedence over give way. And keep a course and speed will not apply whenever 8F is in action. So I've tried to split it into 3 subparagraphs. Whenever you see 8F, there are 2 vessels involved. One on the left is a vessel required not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel. On the right side is the vessel whose passage is not to be impeded. Now, 8F obligations start well before risk of collision takes place. Let's say the president of the country is visiting a city, the police will cordon off the roads well in advance for the VVIP movement to take place. which is also to do with the security. You're not even allowed to go into those roads. So something like that. If you are required not to impede the passage of some other vessel, that vessel is a VVIP vessel. You can do what you like. Slow down, turn down, dive down if you are a submarine. You have full freedom of action. Do not even allow risk of. This is fully implemented. Then 8F2 and 8F3 are redundant. They will not come into picture. Now, next step. Collision means F1 failed. Submarine get activated simultaneously or together. That means compliance with subparagraph 1 has clearly failed. Not on vessel here, as we see later. However, any restrictions imposed by Rule 17, like in 17C, don't go to port for in a crossing situation, can be applied or should be applied. Some key points. Not to impede takes precedence over give way. As not to impede is the first obligation, and keep a course and will never be applied with application of Rule 8F. However, overtaking situation, I would like to quote rule number 13. Contained in the sections 1 and 2, any vessel overtaking any other shall keep out of the way of the vessel being overtaken. So in an overtaking situation, forget about not to impede. Now let's look at F2 and 3 together. On the left is the vessel which under F1 was told not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel. All the audience, all the cadets, all the mentors, all the people who are teaching COLREGs, questions frequently comes up. What is the difference between passage or safe passage? There is no answer. My take on this, if you have sea room to go on either side, you are in a passage. And if you have very restricted sea room, like by so you're in a narrow channel with shallow waters around, then you are in a safe passage because you don't have space to maneuver. So what does this vessel do? She is told her obligation under subparagraph 1 remains fully applicable. That means she is still required not to impede the passage. However, her actions will be curtailed to an extent that her freedom is gone and she has taken into account the rules of Part B. She cannot claim keep a course and speed whether in sight or in RV. Now we go to the vessel whose passage was not to be impeded. She is now told, my dear friend, the guy who's told not to impede is impeding. So there is a developing risk of collision. You also take action to avoid collision. In taking such action, keep into account the rules of this part, which means rules of Part B. Only for the purpose of understanding, you may link this to understand something similar to what Rule 17 tells the stand-on vessel. Right? This is the explanation of 8F. I'm going to sharing the screen. There's only one question on 8F. I'll try and answer that, and then I can go into explaining Rule 19. On 8F, I saw there is just one question. I was taking my list of questions.
Yeah, the question is just they wanted a clarification, which I think you offered. That was from Lingesh, and I guess you explained it quite well. And in case there are still doubts, they can always come back. So I guess what we may want to do is go on to the next one. And I see a few hands coming up and now going off. Just excuse us. Let us finish with this, whatever we are doing. and then we'll open up the session and we can have people getting in and having a different opinion or maybe offering a different perspective or whatever it is. So please be patient, that's all. So I'll request Captain Chabra to continue with Rule 19. I think I can't hear you. Captain Chabra, I can't hear you.
I don't know my mic.
Yeah, now you're okay. Now you're okay. Can you speak again?
Yeah, I volunteered to explain ATF because it took a lot of time not only to write about it. I also wrote a paper for Seaways once. It took 2-3 months discussion with Nautical Institute before they published it with minor amendments. They agreed, yes, it's a complex rule and not so easy to understand at times. So I don't blame the cadets or anyone else who has difficulty. He or she has difficulty with ATF. On the practical side, I'm sure Captain Sharan and Captain Nimesh will say that we usually do not encounter this in our day-to-day working. This is more to do in pilotage waters, but still better to know it because in the exam this is frequently being asked. Maximum queries I get on WhatsApp is on ATF.
Okay. Can we move on to Rule 19?
Yeah. Then I'll go on to. I'll try and go on to Rule. Close this one. Okay, so same starting slide except the title is changed. Now we are talking about Rule 19 in restricted visibility. I did not try to induce restricted visibility. Let me take you a little away from the rules. Your watchkeeping is governed by Section 8/2 of the STCW Convention. And this is frequently not taken up in detail. It is my recommendation that this should be taken up as part of the studies. My second book is totally about watchkeeping. So in the STCW Convention, in Code 8/2, paragraph 45 very nicely states, when restricted visibility is encountered or expected, the first responsibility of the OW is to comply with the international regulations of preventing collisions at sea 1972 as amended. Gentlemen, I want to repeat, this is the legal terminology. I have not yet found ROR in any legal book. COLREGs has been found, and I don't know why some of the courts and admiralty still use collision regulations. I always prefer to say prevent collisions. Anyway, so when you encounter RV, you comply with the rules for preventing collisions, particularly with regard to sounding of fog signals. Now here they don't say sound signal, they say fog signals. Proceeding at a safe speed, having engines ready for immediate maneuver. This is also a requirement from the STCW code. The OW shall thereafter inform the master. All along in STCW, nowhere do the rules say call the master. It says inform the master or notify the master. Therefore, in the oral exams, if you are asked, master doesn't come up on the bridge, what will you do? The examiner is perfectly right in asking you that. So OW responsibilities continue till the master comes and formally takes over watch. Otherwise, you are the watchkeeper and in charge of doing things correct. Inform the master, post a proper lookout, exhibit navigation lights, operate and use radar. STCW does not say use radar 24/7. Most of the companies today in the SMS tell you to do it, so bloody well do it. STCW also says earlier in paragraph 37 that when you are encounter restricted visibility or in congested waters, you shall use the radar. Therefore, in open sea, if your SMS does not say and you're not using the radar, you are perfectly right. But today, I don't think any company's SMS says do not use the radar. They are insisting use both radars, 3 radars. Right. So this comes on the watchkeeping part. Now we go into some notes. When you're in RV, Rule 34 sound signals for maneuvering will not apply. You will only use sound signals from Rule 35. They are also called fog signals. There was a question on this. I think that should be answered. Somebody's asked radar and fog signals. No, there are no radar signals, sir. You use the radar and you use fog signals. Go through Rule 35. There are various requirements. And that should be self-explanatory. I don't have to go through each paragraph of that. However, I would request everyone, including all those who teach the subject, to please and study the sound signals in Annex 3. And there are two paragraphs. There's a chart which gives the range of sound signals. And then there are two paragraphs which dwell only on what is the reliability of sound signals. Once you have read that, you will agree with me that we will not be able to navigate safely on the basis of sound signals alone. So you have to sometimes look at what is given in the annex with the rules to get a more clearer understanding of the rules. I'm going to run this very fast. I've divided as a matrix. On the left is the requirement of the rule. On the right side is the explanation. And wherever it is new information is colored green. Where it's repeated, I've given a different color. When does Rule 19 apply? Two conditions. Vessels are not in sight of one another, but they should be navigating in or near an area of restricted visibility. In RV, type of vessel does not matter. It applies to all vessels. It does not say whether you're sailing, power driven, etc. Paragraph C is basically a repeat of Rule 6 on safe speed. Rule 6 is in Part B, Section 1, applies at all times. So this is old information in new bottle, old wine in new bottle. However, the still shall have an engine for immediate maneuver, which means on standby. Nothing on 5 minutes or 10 minutes notice. Engines on standby or ready for immediate maneuver. You want to reduce speed, reduce speed. You want to stop, stop. Paragraph C, because would not make any difference, but this is basically repeating Rule 4. Rule 4, rules in Section 1 apply at all times. And this paragraph C is only reminding us, please comply with rules of Section 1 of this part. That's why I told you, when it says this part of the rules, A, B, C, D, E, F. But there's not much more to explain on this one. How will you determine there's another vessel around? So paragraph D, radar. Captain Pradhan has explained to you what is close quarters. I can only add a little on this. Before close quarters will develop. So if you predicted 0, then maybe at 3 miles or 4 miles you have entered close quarters, and if by then also you don't do anything, you're going to collide. Close quarters has got no legal definition. No court has to till date ruled what exactly is called close quarters. So whatever anybody says is right. Rule 7 anyway tells you to determine risk of collision and use radar. Now we go to the next two words, if so. That means the answer is yes. If the answer is no, vessels are passing safe distance, do nothing. Just monitor. But if the answer is yes, the rule says you shall take avoiding action in ample time. You have a choice. You have a choice to do. Take action in ample time, repeating a repetition from Rule 8A. Let's go further. B tells you have a choice to alter course or alter speed. So you have a choice. Now, going little further, Rule 8 has recommended if there is sufficient sea room, Alteration of course alone may be the most effective action. How much is sufficient sea room? You all should study the turning circle diameter, tactical diameter of your respective ships you are on. Anything more than 1.5 miles is good enough sea room to be able to turn your ship. Usually ships will be able to turn in about half a mile. The largest VLCC will be able to make a tactical diameter of 6 to 7 cables with hard over wheel. So don't worry, you're not going to go so close before you take action. So recommended action is alteration of course. So far as possible is a choice. Rule 19 does not directly tell you what to do. It tells you what not to do, which is a very funny way of writing the rules. Now, if you alter course, the be avoided. One, it says when the vision of close quarters with the vessel forward of the beam, you shall not go to port. So what will you do? You have to take action, so you go to starboard. You do opposite of what you are told not to do. The vessel ahead of you, you are overtaking. Then the restriction, you can go to port or starboard. Here again, there was a question that a vessel is coming up from right astern. Well, the rule doesn't say what to do. Next para, it doesn't say. Or sometime if I'm ahead, I'll wait and see what the other guys do, and then I go the opposite side. That's all I can say. Rule 13, little bit is in RV is rule overtaking. Defined in rule number 13B, and their courts have ruled that by ordinary practice of seamanship and by normal law, since the rules have defined overtaking in one of the rules and 19 doesn't say anything to the contrary, the same definition will apply in RV even though rule 13 does not apply in RV. So I've seen a court when the internet, lost the paper, then to UCA, I wrote to I was from confirming this. Then I quoted, so there is no doubt. Try to get the authentic my explanation from some source. D2 says don't go towards the vessel abeam or above the beam. Going back a little, in 19 delta A, every vessel is a vessel and she shall take action also applies to both the vessels. So both vessels have to take action. There is nothing like keep your course and speed. 9 echo, a little complicated. I think looking at the time, I am not going to go too deep into 19 echo at this stage. Otherwise, we'll take another 15 minutes explaining 19 echo. Take a screen, take a picture, or the explanations later. But this will be going way out now to start explaining 19 echo. Because when I go into 19 echo, I will start going back to the Annex 3 and tell you what is the reliability of sound signals. But basically it says, if you cannot avoid a risk of collision with the vessel pod or the beam, whether you heard of signal or not, even if you found on your radar vessel pod or the beam and you are unable to keep clear, then the answer given here is reduce the minimum at which you can be kept on your course. It does not really give you any great action. Do your prayers, keep on course, minimum speed, and 19 Echo concludes with saying navigate with extreme caution until danger of collision is over. For all the trainees and learners, please remember some rules say danger, some rules say risk. Up to your judgment what to do. Of course, in all such cases, you will have double watch keeping. Master would be available on the bridge, but the rules don't say. If master decides to leave you alone in open sea, it would be fine. This completes 19. I'll close the PPT and look at the questions.
Yeah, you want me to read it or you can do it on your own, I guess. I don't know.
No, we can do it because there isn't much in this. Questions are, what is the action in restricted visibility? I think I've explained 19 delta. Please go by 19 delta. Then there's a question, when does rule 19 apply? That I've explained. 19 applies by the guidelines given in 19 alpha when vessels are not in sight, in or near an area of restricted visibility. One vessel may be outside, one may be inside, or both may be inside. There was one question which I didn't put here, that if I can see both the sidelights of the other vessel. Now, if you see both the sidelights of the other vessel, you are in sight, then rule number 11 to 18 will apply, 19 will not apply. The other was radar and fog signals in restricted visibility. Well, there are no radar signals, fog signals as per rule 35. Multiple vessels in restricted visibility, the rules do not answer. All the rules are talking about two vessels. Then Qureshi has asked, action when a vessel is 1 point forward of the starboard beam in RV, I assume there is risk of collision. If she is forward of the beam and just 1 point, you cannot go to port. You have to go to starboard. That's about it. Or if you cannot go to starboard, there's traffic or something, reduce speed. Aspect in ROR and impeding vessels. Okay. Aspect is a relative angle between ships. Here, confusion about action in RV when both side lights are visible. My God, no, both side lights. If they are visible, then you will have to go by vessels inside one another. Regarding concepts, I have tried to explain in the beginning. 1 point forward of the beam, I have answered. I've tried to run through rule 19 in detail till delta and very quickly through echo, considering that we have very limited time. It's almost coming to 15:38. So with this, I will close. And if there's any more questions coming up on the chat box, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, what I'm going to do is very quickly try to share something what we are trying to do, and then probably present something what I have of my own. And then we open up for people who have put up their hands, particularly senior members. I see few hands. So we'll be requesting them to come in and ask their questions. So what we are trying to do, what happened, this was like we had a mentor forum, we have a mentor group, and we try to answer questions, particularly on career counseling. That happens every Sunday for, usually it was half an hour. Now nowadays it is about an hour. What also transpired during those meetings was there were a lot of questions coming up regarding ROR. And that is what triggered us, because we are kind of becoming from mentorship for career guidance and career counseling, we were drifting on to more of advising them on ROR or how to face various issues, including some personal issues. So we said, okay, we'll have a kind of a forum and which will try to address as many questions as possible. So we organized this whole thing. We sent out a lot of questionnaires wherein people could fill in. That is a Google Forms. So that's how we collected these questions and we made up this presentation, etc. We will be having this on a regular basis. As I see, there is a lot of interest. Today, there are more than 200 people, at least in our this one. Probably, I think there are more than 500 people who had logged in. So I'm extremely thankful for the interest you guys are showing. So, and also to make learning easier, we are also going to use a bit of technology. So what I'm going to do is very quickly share what we are trying to do. So we have a kind of fewer this ones going on. So the interactions can be reduced a little bit, and what do you call, and we allow the students to study on their own. I hope you can see the screen. Can you?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Yeah, thank you. So what we have done is like we have put in some of these lights and shapes which you have, which you run around with the cards, flashcards. So it can be done very much easily. So you just go into our website, which will be launching very soon, and you can play with this as many times as you want. And doesn't matter how many people log in. It can take in any amount of people who can log in, and you can do it from anywhere across in the world. Meaning, even if you're on board a ship, you can access the website, play around with it, learn what you want to do, etc. Okay, this is the lights and shapes, and this is something which is more of flashcards. Okay, so here we show some flashcards which Captain Chavra explained to you what are the things, which rules are between what to what, etc. Okay, so this is game. Then you play with the flashcard. What happens? You can do it whenever you want to. You can access it 24/7, and you can play with this and then decide and learn on your own. You don't need us to come and do this every time. Okay, so you can play with this. You can answer this every time. Okay. But then that is not enough, is it? Now we thought, okay, we'll also add some MCQs. So what we have done is, let's say, I'll just show you very quickly what happens in rule 1 MCQ. We have 10 MCQs for each rule. So probably we'll end up with more than 300 rules. You can play with this anywhere, wherever you are. You can just put in whatever you want, and you can fit in. Let us say very quickly, I'll show this. What happens after that? You just submit it and you get this one. I have to fill in my email ID, which I shall fill in. So there I didn't fill up something, it will point out. So you have to fill in something for all the questions, otherwise it won't let you go. So you play with this, and you get a view score. You can view a score, how many things are wrong, and it tells you which are wrong as well. Okay, which is this was right, this was wrong, and it tells you which was the correct answer. Okay, so this is what we are doing, and probably we'll do a lot more than this as we go forward, and we are going to do more and more of this. I'll be grateful if you can share more information with us, so we can put a lot of these things on the system, which can be useful for many people. The questions what you saw flashcards were questions which were put forth by the students who had come out of their MMD oral examination, and they had put those questions. So these answers are for those questions. So the students can go. These were the questions which are asked. If you can continue sharing these questions with us, we will get you the answers. We will put it on the net, and it is easy for you to study wherever you are in the world. Okay. So now I think I have taken enough of your time. I'm going to yield the floor. And if people are there are lots of people putting up their hands. So I think Captain Jha, can you see any people?
Yeah, one by one, I'll take it up. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. I hand over to Captain Jha. Thanks.
Thank you, Captain Ramji. That's the future, so that we don't have to do this kind of masterclass on this particular topic. That's what we are trying to create, so that if and only if you need, we can have another session on ROR, means COLREGs. Otherwise, you will get all your questions answered in the websites that we are launching. You don't have to come to us. It will be solved once for all. Now I will, whoever wants to speak, please raise your hand. One by one, I'll ask. Captain R.K. Kumar, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question, sir. Captain R.K. Kumar. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself, sir. You can unmute and you can speak. You cannot, sir? Okay, I'll go to the next. Who is next? Saurak Mukherjee. You can unmute yourself. I'll just allow you to Saurak Mukherjee, you can speak.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You are.
Yeah. Sir, my doubt, it's not a doubt. I just wanted clarification. We have seen in many rules that there's a word called safe passage and passage. In practical aspect, not MMD aspect, for practical aspect at C, how do we distinguish between the two and how do we apply the two? Like in rule 8, we see passage, safe passage, in rule 18 also. So how do we apply it practical aspect at C?
I'll answer
Who
that.
should take this?
I did explain when I was doing 8F explanation that there is no clear-cut legal ruling on this or a clear-cut guideline. Have sufficient sea room to go around, then you are in a passage. And if you have restricted sea room, like you are in a narrow channel with a deep draft vessel, you cannot get out of that narrow channel, then it would be safe passage. This is the best understanding I could gather in all these years. There is no other clarification given, but others are welcome to pull in into this. What could be the difference between passage and safe passage?
Captain, the thing is, when we are taking action as a giveaway vessel, what is the difference in action? Because in YouTube also there are many justifications, but like those are, I think those are good enough for MMD, but in practical aspect when I'm on the con, so that's what I'm asking.
You can always reduce speed. That's about it. Gentlemen and gentlemen, there may be some ladies also. Let me tell you, there are a lot of amateur people making a lot of videos, putting up on YouTube and that. They're not necessarily correct. Let me also warn you, Chat GPT gives a lot of wrong answers. Recently, I've tried a lot of fun with Chat GPT and I'm telling you, it's obnoxious. It'll confuse the hell out of you. Please don't rely on Chat GPT. It doesn't know maritime subject yet. Neither will you get some answers in Google. So please study with more authentic textbooks. I've studied initially from Cockcroft and 2-3 other books. Based on all that, I've written a book. Please use those kind of information. Don't start Googling and certainly keep away from Chat GPT.
Yes, sir. I have read your book, and this thing about passage and safe passage is explained there.
We have to restrict this discussion. There are others also.
Yeah, sure.
Who has to ask question? So Maj, you can Maj Sa, you can unmute and you can ask your question. I'll take only 3 questions from here. You have posted it in the group in the chat box. We will answer everything there in the in our group. So you can your questions are all answered there. If not, then you can again put it in the Seafarers mentoring group. We will answer that. Mansa, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my question is little bit tricky on a head-on situation. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, sir, is a head-on situation. If the vessel are head-on situation and the risk of hello, sir.
We can hear you. You can go ahead.
There is a risk of collision and there's a lot of fog signal. Okay, and the distance is less than 4 miles. Then what action will you take that situation?
Captain Nimish Pradhan, you want to take this question?
4 miles off, risk of collision exists, and too many fog situation in this case, in the true sense of the rules. Rule 90 tells you not to alter to port for a vessel on your ahead of your beam, correct? Forward of your beam. Yes, so sir. You alter to starboard. And even if it's a head-to-head situation straight away, anyway, you're supposed to alter to starboard. So don't you see the rules have taken care of it together? Got it? So either yes, you'll go to starboard as per both rules, whether it is inside coming down, or even if it's fog, then you go to starboard. Yes, I practically, from my experience, when you are reciprocally forward, the problem is in Rule 19, all vessels do not go to starboard. Some vessels feel that if I go to port, I'll be probably safer. But then moment they do that, you will end up in bigger trouble. So just follow the rule. Something ahead of your beam, do not alter to port. If everybody follows it, you will not run into a problem. You alter to starboard, simple. That way, have taken care of both the situations.
Okay,
I hope that clarifies.
I think we move on. We will answer your question if required. You can keep posted on WhatsApp. We are running short of time. We got only 8 minutes more, and we like to close on time. And if you don't mind, would you mind calling up Captain R.K. Kumar or one of the mentors here, please, for any comments they may have? Captain R.K. Kumar, you want to come in?
He had some issue with
to unmute yourself.
Sir, maybe just click on your mic button once. Captain Kumar, just click on your mic button once.
Your mic is closed, Captain Kumar.
On the top screen, right side, you will see a mic button made up next to the camera.
Sir, do one thing. Can you just log out and log in again? We'll make you enter again. Just log out and log in.
Okay, we go with somebody else. We come back to you, Captain.
Yeah, is Karthik? You can ask your question. We will take another two minutes, one minute each. 55. We have to go back to the next stage. Next topic.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, I got the mic now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I got the mic now. Okay. Now, I would, very interesting session, and I find that there's a lot of vagueness in the candidates. I've been teaching all over another subject for almost 20 years now with Amet University. So I would like, some of these things, boys keep asking me some doubts over sailing. One is CBD. When it comes to CBD giving way traffic separation scheme, they're always saying that CBD, how it can alter, etc. Very wonderfully answered by Captain Chabra. I also read his book on Cockcroft. The CBD need not be a CBD all the time. For a 20-mile passage, there may be shallow patches, sporadic shallow patches, and you can still go out and come back. It entirely depends on the particular situation, number one. The rule is very, very clear. If there is a risk of collision, CBD loses its privilege. But as far as other vessel is concerned, she is still obliged not to impede your passage or safe passage. There's been some doubt on passage and safe passage. That also Captain Chapra has tried to explain it as best as he can. There is one Captain Sharma from UK also, who is an examiner. He had also given a safe passage. Fundamentally, safe passage applies more in restricted areas where you give the other ship a safe passage. Now, I'm still audible, sir. The screen has changed.
Yeah, you are audible. Please go ahead and please.
The second thing is maintaining course and speed. Maintaining course and speed means that you follow your normal passage plan, but that does not mean you throw away your seamanship. It's not that you are heading into an island and you maintain course and speed and hit the island as a stand-on vessel. You are allowed to alter course. There have been court judgments on this, but like the traffic separation. The third thing is doubtful situation. Rule number 13. You must remember that there is an overlap of sectors where a vessel may be able to see your stern light and the side lights. Is he an overtaking vessel or not? It may be the first time he has seen it. He's just come out of the port on your starboard side, and the moment he sees you, he is able to see your side light and the stern light. Now that's a doubtful situation. And the rule is making it very clear that doubtful situation, assume you are overtaking. I hope I'm right and you can correct me. What I would like to know is that, again, one more thing, not to pass ahead in a crossing situation. What is the danger of passing ahead? This is very important because a lot of boys have reported near-miss situations on this. where they were obliged to alter course to port for a crossing situation, which is not correct technically speaking, because but maybe some shallow waters or whatever it is, if you are forced to alter course to port, why should you not avoid crossing ahead? Is because whenever you alter course, your speed reduces automatically, even if
Thank you, sir. AIST has raised the hands. May I ask you to unmute and ask your question, sir? Yes, you can ask your question, please. We can't hear you.
You're not been unmuted as yet, boss. Could you please unmute yourself? Never mind. If you can't say that it is okay, you can put it in our WhatsApp and we'll answer your questions. Is that
just
okay?
Unmute and say again, AMAT. You are not audible. We can see you, but we can't hear you. No worries. Please post it in our group. We are running short of time. Please post it in our group and we will answer your questions. All those questions which has been posted in YouTube live sessions as well as in our live session in the chat box, our volunteers have collected it. We will assemble those questions. We will post the answers. Our mentors will go through those questions. If those questions are already answered, it will be covered in our sessions. If it is not answered during the session, it will be answered by our mentors. It will be posted in our group and we will share it with all those email IDs which has been registered. So you will have it all. So with this, yes. So with this, we are now about to close the session. Now I'm requesting Sahira, who is part of our organizing team, to come and give a vote of thanks to all the mentors, mentees, and all chief guest, DG sir. Over to you, Sahira.
Thank you, sir. Hello all and good afternoon to everyone. It was immense gratitude and appreciation that I am before you today, and we bring this wonderful event and IS and a Director General of Shipping for gracing this occasion with your presence. Your words of wisdom and encouragement have truly inspired us, sir, and we are honored to have and had the opportunity to learn from your insights. Your presence has made this event more special, and we sincerely appreciate the time and the effort you have taken to be here with you today. Your participation shows your commitment to the seafarers and reflects your commitment from the top. I would like to also thank and my heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Captain Yashwant Chabra. He is a senior master mariner and author of 2 navigational books. Captain Yash Sharan, a senior master mariner on board trainer and auditor. Captain Nimish Pradhan, a senior master mariner and with a command of 28 years plus. Your knowledge and expertise and thought-provoking discussions have added immense value to this event. These insights you have shared, you undoubtedly leave a lasting impact of all of us, and we are truly grateful for your contribution. And also special thanks to our moderator, Captain Amrish Jha, Captain Ramji Krishnan, who is our Seafarer India Mentoring founder, and the team members skillfully guided our discussions and ensured that the sessions were engaging and insightful. Your ability to facilitate the meaningful conversation and keep the event running smoothly has been truly commendable, sir. Thank you so much. Also to everyone who has played a part making this event a successful organizer, Captain Dheeraj, Mr. Pratik, Mr. Amit Jaiswal, Mr. Anurag Kumar, Hassan, participants and the attendants whom I'm thankful for the dedication and support. Without your collective efforts and the gathering, it would not be possible. Me, myself, Saira, is grateful that I'm concluding this session, first of its kind, with the vote of thanks. A special thanks to sailors today for covering this live session. Your support and efforts are truly appreciated. Please forgive me if I'm missing someone, any of them. I'm really thankful to everyone for the participation. As we conclude, let us carry forward the knowledge, the inspiration, and the connection we have gained today. Once again, thank you for making this event a truly memorable one. Thank you all. Thank you all once again on behalf of Seafarers India mentoring team. Wishing you all the best. Looking forward to meet again in future. Thank you all.
Thanks,
Over to
Sahir.
Dr. Amrish.
Thank you, Sahira. Thank you very much. So with this, I really thank all of you again for all the support that you have given us to carry out this masterclass, first of its kind, I believe, in India. A special mention to all the IMUs, MTIs, Emmet, Tulani, Great Eastern, Seven Island, Indian Maritime Institute, Cochin, and other branches, MASA, FOSMA, MTI, then ARI, IMI, all MTIs, everyone. We are here to support you in whatever way we can. Captain Ramji is in the process of launching the websites, which will have a complete Tarwar thing. So most likely you will have all your questions answered there. If not, then of course we are all there in the group. Seafarers Mentoring Group conducts every week, every Sunday, 10:30 to 11:30 sessions. Do join. One of us or some of us or all of us will be there depending upon the schedule. But that session goes every Sunday at 10:30. Some of our mentors will definitely be there. So with this, I thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot. All the best and see you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Thanks,
Thank you, sir.
everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great show. Great show. Congrats.
Thanks a lot, Ramesh sir. Thanks a lot, Saran sir. Chabra sir, thanks a lot.
Most welcome,
Thanks.
sir.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Philip.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You have to unmute yourself, and Philip.
Thank
You have to unmute, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. I think it's been a wonderful
a
session.
wonderful initiative. We really appreciate. This is something one of its kind, and you have taken this initiative. This is really something superb for the generation, and I really salute your team of Ramji, Captain Yashwant Chabra, Captain Saran, Captain, of course, Nimish Pradhan, and Captain R.K. Kumar from Ahmed. Wonderful, and a lot of others, Captain Dheeraj Kumar, and everybody. I am sure the students and the people going ahead, you will develop into for even post-C, and people will really remember this initiative.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thanks, Captain Amresh Jha, and all others, Captain Chabra, you've been wonderful, and yes, Sharan, everybody almost, and thanks a lot, and I hope I'll be able to learn quite a bit, and also
So much efforts. I know for last 1 month how much to and fro and all that thing is going on. I will request that most questions comes to us in advance because it's very difficult to answer in the live session, so that our mentors can go through those questions and prepare the answers like we have done it. So I'm sure with times it will improve and we will have all those questions covered. Very nice. So thank you, Ramji Saab. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Chabra Saab, thank you.
Thanks for animating the PPT. I'm not much of a PPT guy. I prefer to tell people pick up the book and we'll study from there.
No, sir. With times,
no, we'll do a lot more. We'll be doing a lot more of that, and we'll be doing a lot more. I mean, keep it coming. I mean, I just be doing a lot more.
And I think we have many heroes behind the scenes. Anurag, Prateek, Amit, Dheeraj, Hassan, Sahira. These are the main heroes behind the scene, which has basically helped us to carry out this presentation. And sir, I will be very happy to tell you, last evening when I approached DG Saab, within 1 minute he called me back. When is it? I said 2 p.m. I said fine. At 11 o'clock night he told me, yes, I will attend, and he attended it. So this shows the commitment from the authorities as well, that how they are concerned about making change and making as he was rightly mentioning, Maritime India vision, wherein it is been designed that we should be number one or one of the main seafarers community seafarers provider on the world. That is only possible when we provide the best seafarers among the best, and that is this what we are trying to do is one of the measures that will enhance that will help them to become better than what it was. Captain Dheeraj, you want to say something? Because now we are an unofficial thing, but then you can, I don't know if he's here or he's left already.
No, thank you everyone, and thanks the team, especially to Anurag, Anand, Hassan, Saira and Pratik. I think they have done most of the job, and we're just guiding them. And in fact, overnight they have made the flyers after DG's confirmation. Anurag,
Yeah, I know, a lot of work was
everyone.
done.
So that shows the dedication actually and commitment from their side. Otherwise, it's why I think we started Indian time late around 11 when we got confirmation, and it was ready like in the night time, and morning we flashed it. So thank you everyone, and thanks all the seniors for keep guiding us, and we always will be motivated by your guidance, your word of appreciation. That is what is required to keep the things moving, and that is what we can give back to the fraternity and nothing else. That is what we are trying to do. Thank you everyone.
Then Captain Ramji, last word.
Yeah, I just want to tell everybody that as far as cadets are concerned, we don't intend charging anything. So if anybody comes and tells you somebody is charging, please don't pay anything, because there are lots of fraud going on. So all these things what we put up on the net will be free to access, and there will be a lot more coming. So don't worry about it. We'll do whatever we can. Whatever support we get, it will be wonderful. If we get more support, you get to see more materials on the net. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Let us know if you are facing any issue on any subjects. We will try to bring the expert and try to solve those questions as well. All then I will close the meetings up. I'll end the meeting now. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You will all
Wonderful.
receive the recording. Bye. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Anurag. Thanks, Anurag.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amresh. Thanks for a lovely session.
It's only because of you guys, sir.
I'll
end this now.
Yeah.
Bye. I remember when we were on Selandia vessel, I think Dwejwell.
Yeah.
All this we have done it. Your video still I have in my old laptop.
Yeah, and good. Slowly coming.